All right. Hello, everybody. It looks like we've got a full house out in YouTube land, and I have to check over on Rumble in a minute here. So today, my guest is I want to say AllyKat Creations 211, but that happens to be, if you guys want to follow her, she usually does a Friday Night Live. It's AllyKat Creations. She's very spiritual, among other things, and just extremely intelligent, and I like to pull the information from her. And so today, I thought what we would do is, I had Buckshot on the show. I got my days all screwed up. So the last time I was on here, I had Buckshot on, and we kind of talked a little bit about the energies, Akashic field, Mandela, and a lot of great things. A lot of people were very open and receptive to it. And I think that's where my channel is going to be going more and more. There are more scientists out there that seem to be saying the same thing, but putting their own little spin on it. So that tells me unity is definitely coming into place, and we are shifting our level of consciousness that we can actually see this stuff now and believe it, and to know it, that this body that we're actually in is just to have an experience here on Earth, and how powerful that our bodies are. Take the brain out of the equation is what I've been learning a lot. I say the brain is good for the ego, and that's basically it. If you want to stay safe, that's what you have to stay with. But if you want to really expand your aura, open your chakras, travel, whatever it is that you want to do, time travel, I can't wait till I feel confident enough to do a huge show on this one, on the time travel. So before we get to Allie, I just want to make one little announcement. Somebody, I think it was Ronnie out there, asked me to do a reading on the collective consciousness. And I was kind of, where I was getting the information, I was kind of like, okay, that it wasn't exactly. So there's me, and then there's the energies that come in, right? And sometimes me can get in my own way. And I know that, and I know that because there's always validation out there, as me and AllyKat were just talking about. And so I actually ended up doing a reading about what was going to be coming up within this week, and probably even further on from this week, but it was about the children. So yesterday, I happened to be flipping through the channels, and there was a posting out on X that says, "Holy crap, FBI Director Kash Patel announces a location of 5,400 children victims of criminals." So the FBI has found and located 5,400 children. That is the 30% increase year to date over the last administration. And I really think that we're going to see more and more of this. It's out on, it's all over the place if you want to know about it. It is really amazing. And Kash basically was talking about how they are unleashing the federal police, and we're going to be bringing more of these kids home. And I think that's going to bring a lot of peace to a lot of families. 5,400 families now know about their child or the children. I've got to be very careful here, but that's where we're at. Okay, so any further ado, I have AllyKat sitting out there, and I said to Allie, I'm going to interview you and get your perspective, and then I'm going to ask you questions as we go along. How are you, Allie?
I'm hanging in.
All right. You guys give me a 5-5 if you can hear her. I appreciate it. All right, so let me close this out of here, up here, and let's get back to my live chat out on Rumble. Anybody is out on Rumble? All right, where are you going to take us, Allie?
Hey, Rumble.
So here's. So she is showing you the latest Schumann resonance, and there's how many black lines in there?
8.
8 time jumps.
8.
Does anybody out there feeling any different? Anybody out there noticing anything? It's like Pink Floyd. Anybody out there? Oh, all right, let's see. I'm not getting anything on Rumble. Let me just go to my phone and check it to see if I connected it. Sometimes I know I put it out there. I may not have connected it. Lordy, lordy.
So that's going on right now. Calm, cool, collected.
Yeah. So this is a lot of things. When I was hoping that I was clear what I was talking about when we talk about energy. So the basics is energy. Where your thoughts go, your energy will go. That's the basic 101. Okay. And then from there, we could take it like, what creates our reality? Are you creating your own reality? Is your reality my reality? And then the other thing is where's the level of consciousness come into play? All right, it's all yours, Allie.
Yes, you create your own reality, but there is a caveat to that because we all together created this realm. We co-created this because we are all source. We're all one individuated states of particles and subatomic particles. That just means you're a body. You fell into consciousness. There is the collective and the unconscious collectives in the qualia, the ether. That's where we're pulling in information. We're
Now,
also entangled to everything. So this is where string theory, when a witch tells you to cut the cords to people, or that you have the silver string to God, the source, you have strings of source, that's really string theory. Those are the cords that tie you to everything outside.
yeah, it definitely is. So, but can it be? All right. I want to step back. You kind of you kind of painted the next step from where your thoughts go, your energy goes, and then you kind of jumped with how we access the information. So my next thing is, can I have two realities going on at the same time with one level of consciousness or two levels of consciousness?
One and two depends how you depict it. So you're in a body. You're consciously aware here in the now. If you were to imagine, or for some of us who have abilities, be aware of your other self, there is something called the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics. That means that there's an unlimited amount of you playing out different choices, different events in the now moment, but you're only consciously aware of your body in here because you're embodied.
Now, if I want to, how do I put this? Do I share my story, what I shared with you?
I say yes.
Okay, you guys, don't judge me. Okay. So, as most of you know, on one of my shows, I talked about pain, that me and my husband are experiencing a lot of pain and we won't do the pharmaceutical. So we went to the CBD store and we both got some gummies and stuff like that and CBD oils and everything else. And it was like, okay, well, I went, what was it, last Sunday? I think it was when I did a show with Buck. I went to the beach, I walked along the sand and threw my back out. First, my back went into spasms and all these things were happening with my body. So then the next day I couldn't take the pain anymore. And I know that on these gummies, they're like these round circles, and you're supposed to cut it in half. It was 500 milligrams. The first one I took, I cut it in half. I felt like, ooh, a little lightheaded. Second one, I was in so much pain. I was so miserable. I ate the whole thing. And mind you, I've been doing my homework for the show, talking about energy, quantum fields, and everything else. And I've been watching YouTube after YouTube after YouTube. So guess what's in my consciousness? And guess what they are showing me? And it blew my mind. So I have one thing that is my physical reality versus watching myself watch my own thoughts outside of my own body and what was actually happening. Now, this is kind of like on the same level of what you are talking about, AllyKat. So how do so I put it this way, I'm a witness to my own consciousness and my own thoughts at this point. And my body is kind of sitting there like, okay. And a lot of people are probably saying, oh, I do that all the time. I take these little mushrooms and I do all this other stuff. For me, it's a big deal. But it was almost as like it wasn't an accident, as like they wanted to really show me something. So in essence is I was wondering how far that this would actually go. Do I go in like just go into a real deep meditative state with it, which I did, and my body was completely relaxed. And I was kind of watching my thoughts, but at the same time, it was almost as if I wanted to leave my body at that particular moment, I had an opportunity. There was a door that was open. I didn't take it.
It's okay. It's okay. It's when you're in those states, it is very difficult to push your threshold to a spot that you're not comfortable with just yet. Because you're already having an experience. You're already seeing yourself outside yourself. And you're seeing the quantum field of energy surround you. The quantum field, the quantum states, your fields of energy. That alone is trippy.
It was.
But then but then when you're sitting and you're like, okay, but can I take this further? But is your body, physical body, able to handle that? And a lot of people can't handle the next jump because it messes with your neurological system.
But at the same time, we're talking about the Schumann resonance or in the jumps and the time jumps. So I kind of felt like they were kind of showing me if I did that jump, what it would I would experience it a lot more than somebody fully in their physical body. Instead of saying, "Oh, my body aches. This is what's going on," or "I got a headache." My ears have been ringing for days. I don't know about anybody else's, but my ears have been ringing. All of a sudden, I'm sitting there just like coming out of my ears. I was like, "What the hell is going on out there?" So, after that happened, the next morning, I actually woke up and no pain, no nothing. I said, okay, there was something within the brain that obviously, or was it my level of consciousness that shifted? There was something. And that's what I was asking. Who was I asking? Was I asking my higher self? And to take the pain away, to release it. What was it that why? It was a fear. And I'll just leave it at that. And I won't go into any detail. There was a particular fear that I experienced when I was out with about 100. It was a shrimp fest, so it was a big deal where I was at, and so I was still holding on to that. And so it's interesting, and a lot of people would say, "Oh, I don't know, AllyKat. I think a lot of people need to experience what I experienced, and I'm sure that." They do. I'm sure that they do. I'm just a nerd and I just don't go there. And I also have these issues of losing control, being out of control, that type of thing. But yeah, so let's see here. What else? What else do you have to say?
I mean, for somebody that is not consciously aware of any of this, they are experiencing it a smidgen different. They're doing it more in the dream state, or they're doing it more in their daydreaming. So people that daydream, that stop, and you're like, what was that? It's shorter where you're experiencing a little bit of a longer experience.
Okay, Ellie, I know you probably didn't want to go there, and there's so much more. And we could do a part 3 with you on this, but the daydreaming is so important. How powerful is that imagination, right? And especially everything that you know. Like, okay, so they're debunking a lot of things that Einstein has actually said with his quantum physics now. But the whole imagination has a role in all of this. Can you explain that a little bit?
Yes. So Einstein wasn't necessarily wrong. I don't like him at all. But given he was a genius, he's only depicting classical physics, classical mathematics. We are now shifting into another paradigm where mathematics and physics they're expanding. And we're finding that what was once a thing is no longer a thing, because now we're looking at things on a scale that you can't even fathom. Being that your imagination is what kind of creates your manifestations, your cohesion, your feelings in your body. So if I want $1 million and really think hard about it, using my imagination, seeing myself holding the money, seeing the check in my hand, and I'm thinking about it and thinking about it, and I'm resonating with it, and I'm like, and I feel it, and I'm in the moment. Yay! It's a bigger probability. It doesn't mean it's going to happen, but it means that your cohesion state is to that point where you could collapse, meaning manifest it here into 3D.
That's
So
important.
in physics terms, manifestation is something you're entangled to that you want, and you feel it. You're like, yay, you're imagining it, you're affirming it, you're embodying it, you're walking it, all of those steps. And then eventually, because it is very dense here, things take time for manifestation to work. It actually manifests. How it manifests is dependent upon your vibratory state and the
Choices.
level, pretty much. And that's called collapsing the wave function. So you're grabbing something from a higher density that you can't comprehend, you can't see it, and then it pops up here.
I always used to, and this is what they showed me at one time. People would come to me for Akashic readings, and it was almost like, I'm like, why are they showing me that you are playing ping pong with the gods? It's the only thing that was clear to me. You know, when I would see this, they would serve, and then you would get it, and then you would serve it back. It was kind of like people were making choices, but they weren't really sure that they wanted those choices, so they're giving it back out into the universe. And so I think that our free will and our choices have a huge play in this also. So if somebody is, and also too, we've got to talk about, make note of this, is the material things in our life don't really matter about anything. And if you start putting more emphasis on the energy around material things, I think you are losing. I don't know, what are they losing when they do that? There's an aspect of themselves, their essences of themselves, which I think that they're not being in touch with. When you basically say, I want a car. Okay, I did that. I manifested when I was younger. I was learning a manifestation. Okay, and I put all my energy and thought behind this one car. And I'm going to work towards it. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. Okay, well, as soon as I got the car, was I happier? Absolutely not. So, but that was a choice that I made, and I had to learn that. So where we're at right now with the veil being so thin, as I mentioned in the last show, and the energies that are actually out there is, AllyKat, do you think that what we are going through right now, you're showing time jumps, time jumps, time jumps. And I read out on X, and I can't tell you who said this, but everyone wanted to know, how is everyone doing with all these time jumps? Are you handling it okay? Why are we jumping so much? Where are we headed?
The reason I'm in this to win this as well with everybody else, because I'm at that point in my life where I want things to happen for me, but what version of me am I trying to merge with? So, technically, in quantum sense, think of the quantum now. There is a version of me that's already married, that has the house, that has the not I don't need the big things, but the things that will make me better to do my mission. That I don't have to sit in survival mode. I don't have to sit and worry about where my food's coming from, where my bills are being paid. I already have a version of myself already there that's thriving. Now, I, in this body, in this circumstance, is trying to merge with that higher self, with that timeline, with that aspect of myself. Here's where the problem is coming in. When you have so many time jumps, there are multiple versions of me trying to merge with me now. What does my oversoul and my contract with Source needing me to learn before the great giant leap for mankind? And I think I'm not alone in this. I think everybody's going through, I feel stuck, I feel stagnant, I'm having ascension symptoms, I'm in pain, emotionally all over the place. Things are being thrown at you. I mean, I got rear-ended the other day. I had a bullet 3 weeks ago fly through my house. Like, is the universe trying to kill me? Okay, so we're all asked to be making changes, and I think a lot of us are trying to implement change, but we don't know what that change looks like because the timelines keep changing. Is it because we're all advancing like this? And our best and highest yesterday is now this lower vibratory state, and the best and highest that's up here is still yet to be obtained. And I think that's what is going on with all of us. We're purging deeply, we're getting rid of this stuff at the same time. We're like, okay, what version of me do I want?
How else can we actually really realize what was been going on in this country for the last 100 years without having a major timeline jump and a shift? Because if we were still where we were at, say 10 years ago, we would still think that it's just a shit show that's going on. So there's reasons. I mean, so okay, so there's quantum. I guess you could call them like quantum jumps, right? These quantum jumps, and then we're not even, we don't even know when these are actually happening, but we wake up the next morning and we feel a little bit different, a little bit more energy. Maybe you've always been telling yourself, I'm going to start working out, and then all of a sudden that day you just start working out. Is because we can't hang on, to what we tell ourselves, because those are still part of the lie. So it's false. And so what we have to do is start living our own truth at this time. I truly believe that if we don't live our own truth, we will be stuck. We will be what we're seeing on TV right now. People, I think, that are freaking out. I don't have an excuse for it. It's just different. What do you think?
Yes. I mean, everybody's where they're supposed to be spiritually and consciously, because we wrote this for ourselves. Some people wrote the fast track, and many of us have wrote that we were all half awake to some extent since birth. We noticed things that were different. We were divergent from the beginning. But now we're remembering what we are, who we are on a bigger scale. So I'm not this body Allison, this personality that's sitting in front of you. I'm also a fractal of the infinitude that is making up the cosmos. And actually understanding it, embodying it, feeling it, seeing it, and exploring it. I think more people are starting to come into that awareness and acceptance, not just saying, oh, well, Allison says she's an archangel. That's from her ego. She's speaking from ego. No, I'm identifying with the other aspects of myself.
Right. Right. So it's almost as if um, you can't. Okay, I'm just going to put this up here, and it's not. It's not. It's almost like a Arnie's mantra: be your authentic self. Say it all the time. You don't have to say it all the time, because if you were to say something to me, Allison, and I may have responded in my old self in a different way than I would today. I am being my authentic self. So when we have these time jumps, your authentic self keeps evolving. And the more that we evolve, the more that we are living our own truth. And why is this so important? Why is this so important for us right now? Is because we're living the experience of the reason why that we came here. This is so powerful. It's not because you've got land, that you've got money, that you have fame. It's none of that. When you are, let's just take Hollywood for example. When you were the most famous person in Hollywood, when you're dead, you're dead.
Yes.
I mean, there's well, I shouldn't say when you're dead, you're dead. You can make a choice and come back and do it all over again, right? But I mean, so that aspect of that person has died.
That
And
person.
no, yeah, that personality, exactly. So it's kind of like, okay, you have to, at some point you realize that material things are important. And spiritual people, say back in like the 60s and 70s, would always say, I don't want to ask any money. I'm just going to own and sit here and be poor, that type of thing. And I got into it, and I'm like, why shouldn't you make any money? I was a totally different generation getting into it from the ones from the 60s and 70s, because they didn't, the ones from the 60s and 70s knew what corporations were going to do. And I lived through it. I watched it unfold. Now, what are we going to do now that we know that what's the truth is that it's all about coming back and making better choices for humanity at this time. And it's all about humanity. Like I had said, if they found 5,400 children, and there's going to be more out there, we have to be able to recognize that that's what's important, is humanity. And I mean, when I saw Cash Patel up there jumping up and down like a child, how excited he was to give the story. And I'm just watching his energy. And I was just like, oh my gosh, Cash, can't you deliver this as a grown up and not your inner child jumping up and down? But he couldn't. He was so excited. And it was something to be excited about. I probably would have done the same thing. But that tells me that was one of the major shifts that we went through, to find and discover, and that's our treasures.
Yes. Um, so in this realm of experience that we're living, this one right here that you're consciously aware watching me and Janine right now, money is an energy. I know a bunch of us already transcended that idea that money is eventually in higher density form not going to be there. I don't like how it is, but we're here to change the thinking of how money is used. We are still so far away from that 5G leap that everybody keeps, oh, we're going to get there. We're going to shift. No, the shift happens within yourself, and it's the attitude that you take and project it here. You're bringing heaven to earth. Nothing here changes until all of us as a humanity decide it changes. So a bunch of us already decided, yeah, we're going to support each other. We're going to form community. We're going to help each other out with what we have. Our energy is what we have. How we think about money. For me, I'm in this poverty lack mindset, and I'm working my booty off to get that programming out. There's layers to it. There's a lot of layers to things. We need things in third dimension, third density to live. So when you don't have money to buy food, it's not like I'm Buddha sitting here and manifesting the ether into my body and I don't need food. There's like 5 people maybe in the world that could do that. Those 5 people don't have to worry about stuff. They're in a monastery, and if they need to go to the bathroom or they need food and water, it's given to them. We don't have the luxuries of those things. So we have to take care of this vehicle in this experience.
Do you know enough? Do you know enough about the virtual realities? So, I used to have my little headset here, the virtual reality stuff, right? So that's also very powerful too. If people think about what these kids are doing, which reality are they actually in? So they're playing this virtual reality game. Let's just say 10 hours out of the day on a Saturday. Let's just say a Saturday. They're sitting there. Parents don't really pay any attention to them, and then they have to take their mask off. Let's say they take this mask off, and then they've got to try to readjust their energies to fit back into the world that they have come from. Do you find that dangerous for children? For children.
I mean, I'm seeing it already in my classroom, and we don't have the AR goggles. These kids are dependent upon technology because it's a pacification. They're not allowing themselves to, and obviously my kids are a little different. They're upgraded, they're autistic, most of them, and they live in another reality anyway. So they're just pacifying themselves with this thing in front of them. They're using their imaginations constantly, but for kids that aren't in that other realm just yet, it is horribly dangerous. You're messing energetically, with their frequency, their resonance. You don't know what is coming out of that Bluetooth, that Wi-Fi signal, hitting into their consciousness. So, I'm having this experience. Now they're making experiences where you put yourself in like a little pod and you're feeling the air, you're feeling water spritz scents.
Wow.
So what a kid is going to think walking through a virtual mall, they're actually going into the popcorn store and eating popcorn without eating popcorn because they can smell the butter in the air and actually taste it because of the mist in the.
Okay, but how?
It's dangerous.
If we have a bunch of quantum physicists out there telling us about all these other different, well, I shouldn't say different realities, levels of consciousness and what is actually out there. So we're not alone, right? So if everything is based upon a pattern, let me go there. Okay, so and I know this is where you could take it in kind of. I just want to talk about this. So the pattern is the child is basically getting lost in a reality that doesn't exist in their 10-year old's life. But then when he actually takes it off, he's got to try to readjust it. So he's learning another reality, another pattern. And this is what they're basically saying is in that these patterns out there are made up of bits and bytes. And these bits and bytes tell a story. So you have to make a choice on which one. If I was to go out that door that I was talking about earlier, and I was able to see, okay, where I wanted to go, if I had these choices, and I can kind of see, okay, there's all these different things out there that I see, and if I pick one, it's going to create a different pattern for me to experience. And then that is what I'm going to bring back to me. So these kids are being groomed what those bits and bytes and patterns are. They're not given choices.
No, but that's the reality they signed up for. That's hard to stomach. They chose that experience. Source, through those children, wanted that experience. I don't agree with it. But that's why we have all the evil in the world, and evil can be, again, all of it is source playing itself out in this reality in every facet you can imagine. Good, evil, right, wrong. We have to see what we prefer. The choice for the child is there are going to be children that put that on and reject it right away. They're going to say, not mine, not me, no. And then there's going to be children, for whatever their circumstances are, that are going to be like, I hate to say this because I used to be one of them, a gamer. Someone who's nonstop in a game, constantly playing another role virtually. I mean, obviously it's not a VR headset, but the concept is very similar. You get
Okay.
lost in games.
Let's take it back to the holographic, or not holographic, but where I'm trying to, the quantum. Let's just take it back to why is it so important for us if we are here on Earth and we're recreating what are some of the things that people are actually, scientists are out there learning. You've got all these people out there creating the virtual reality. There's AI out there. All this stuff is coming down to Earth here. I guess I'm trying to ask them, why is that so important for us to understand what the physicists out there are teaching us about what is out in the universe, the multi-universe, versus the various realities that are actually being brought here to Earth. Does this make any sense?
They're not there yet in understanding that facet that you just said. They understand the many worlds interpretation. They don't all believe in it. If we're all vibratory states and have resonance, we're based off of 3D ontological mathematics, which is the mathematics of vibration, frequency, and resonance. Now that we're expanding to qubits instead of bits of information, the ones and the zeros and the other scales of measure, now we're going into qubits, and we're going into time crystals, and we're going into things that AI may be a very big avenue to help those algorithms of figuring out the math. So
Yeah.
AI in its positive polarity is very beneficial, because it would take a person, unless they're channeling it straight from a star system that has all this information to give to us right away, then we're not there yet. That AI is helping people break the algorithms to things that are very difficult to measure. We're getting there in technology to do these things, but we're not fully there yet. When people say that there's a quantum computer and all this stuff, yes, but it's still under classical physics and classical mathematics. They're still figuring out decay. They're still figuring out where the waste goes. There is waste that is created in a computer energetically. And if you don't observe these things, you don't know they even exist. So your manifestation will never come into cohesion unless you are the active observer, meaning, like you said about the car, you had to work and think about the car, but you had to physically put the effort in to get it. It's not just, a car just dropped on your driveway.
Yeah, and that's a pivotal point right there, is that we have to work for all this stuff. We can take as much knowledge and information out there and read as much as we want, but in essence, this is really cool stuff that everybody is actually learning about. Now, you made a really good point about the bits, and so when I my wedding anniversary is 100110. I did that purposely.
That's awesome. I like that.
Everybody said, "Why didn't you just do it on the 10th?" Or I forgot what it was, but no, it just I knew that in the year 2010 that was coming up. I looked at the calendar and I wanted something, whether or not my husband made that connection or not. But now you mentioned that it's even more finite than that right now. They're finding out that the mathematics is completely different. It's more powerful. And anyways,
pi. They're expanding pi. It's already an infinite number, but they're expanding it using different sequences within pi to discover new shit. It's mind-blowing.
All right, let's just give our mind-blowing minute. So Lori's is out there. It says, sounds like our future society is going to be intuitively quantum charged. Now, this is really good. So if we got all these time jumps coming in, and I hate to be, I don't want to say that there's going to people that are going to jump with us, people that aren't going to jump with us. I don't play God in any of this, but I just think that there might be various levels of consciousness. I think I said this the last time. They'll still come along, but their level of consciousness still has to evolve as ours has. I'm not saying that mine is fully there, but I sure did see a lot through the gummies. And that showed me, okay, I have a lot. What it basically showed me, if I could sum it up, is I have a lot more to learn than I thought I did. Okay, so like when I was trying to pull together the Mandela effect, the Schumann resonance, the Akashic energies, all these different energies I'm wanting to work within vibrational and frequencies. And I'm just like, okay, AI has to know how all this integrates together. This isn't something that I would think that, a human being could figure out, but maybe the AI could actually pull this together. And I did ask AI a question, and they parsed it out for me, because it's like you said, it's not there yet. It was pretty much broken down like, this is what the Akashic is, this is what quantum physics is, and this is something else. I think give us another 5 years, and what does it mean that once we actually get more answers out there? So people have to go all the way back to the Egyptian times, to the scrolls, to all this other older things that they have found. And they're basically, if you follow Greg Brady, and he's out there saying the periodic table, if I'm saying it right, isn't exactly what we thought it was. And so he's pulling that in, and then he's putting another code in there. He's kind of merging things, and it's the matrix. It's the matrix of all of this. And I think that we think of the Matrix as the movie, and there's multiple matrices, if I could say that.
There is multiple matrices. You got to remember, we're a body having an experience, a spiritual experience. Your body is now trying to remember those lifetimes in Egypt, those lifetimes in other galaxies, and accumulating all that information that you might have not had finished your lifetime in those paradigms. You're now starting to remember, and your job in this lifetime is to complete the mission you started in your soul in those times.
Okay, so we were all decided. Let's just say everybody in the chat here, just for fun, will play along with me at home. You guys had, each one of us said, we're going to come to Earth at this particular time, and it's going to be October 16th, 2025. And we are going to be able to learn something that is so advanced from the time that we were born. And we agreed to it, but we weren't told what that is. Or were we told what that is?
We have to remember what that is. That's where the Akashic field comes in. So we're all fields. We have an electromagnetic field, we have a torsion field, we have an auric field, but then there's the fields of what Federico Fagin states as qualia, which is a collective consciousness. So you're dragging and pulling entangled things that mean more to you than it would to someone else. So that recipe
Right.
that a cook wants, I don't cook like that, so I'm not going to get that download, but someone else might get that epiphany and go, holy shit, I just need oregano oil.
Okay, hold that thought right there, because you just said it. So really, the reality in the consciousness is the Akashic records. That is a record, that is your Akashic. So when somebody calls on me and says, could you read my Akashic records? They have the ability to read themselves. There's a lot of other factors behind it that they don't know how to do that. It's only pertinent to themselves. And when you read it, you're definitely in the light of I read the past. I don't read the future as much, only if they give it to me. And it all depends upon, the main ingredient is intention. intention, if I'm saying it correctly, intention is a big part of this. Everything that you do out there. And I would ask people when they wanted a 90-minute reading, you have to write out your questions with your intentions, exactly what it is that you want to know about this. Why, and I'm going to go into this, why is the intention so, is a pivotal part of the formula here, AllyKat?
Your will to intent, your will of intention. Philosophers in existentialism wrote about the will to power. Your consciousness is fixed focused on something. So it could be anything that you have a burning desire. Your soul needs you to know. You are the expert in, and you need to know it more. Your will of thought creates your field, period. So when I want to manifest something, I got to use my will of intention to go, okay, I want that. That determines the universe is going to work with me to get that. The will of me going, okay, I want that.
Well, it not necessarily has to be I want it, or how do I guess where I'm going is like some of these physicists out there, they're using what we are talking about to say, help me understand why this formula is not working, or what is the missing pieces. Like, it's almost the same as like you're saying, I want to solve this. What is it that I'm not getting? So I guess depending on that individual, they can either go through experience of learning about it or being given the answer, or it could be a number of different things. Is that correct, or am I off on that?
No, you're not off at all.
Okay. So if I say that I want that car, like I did, I knew right away it was going to take hard work and sweat to get it. And I think that once you get into trying to figure out the multi-universe, the universes. Okay, I'm going to switch gears here, all right, just for a second, and bring us back into what I was stumbling on with Buck and bringing in the simulations, right? Is it simulations? Where does that come into play here?
That is his story that we all co-created to have experience with. So let's just take the Bibles and the paths of attainment. It could be any path. We wrote those stories together to experience and play out throughout our lifetimes in different facets, in different ways, to understand it in in-depth level. Okay. So
Yeah.
the paradigms that we've chosen to take and explore is source to find itself, to have experience through all different paradigms. There's no right or wrong in any of those paradigms, but that is like Windows 97. It comes with a buffet of apps and like text, Word and Excel, and here's your internet, and we're going to run it off of this. Like Mac will run off Safari, and here is like the basic bread and butter of a computer. And you can add or delete what your preference. We all collectively chose a computer simulated storyline codes to play out. Now we are the viruses that are coming in to rewrite the code. So we're changing the story. We're done with the story. We finished playing it out. We're upgrading. We no longer need those codes. We want the better version of Windows, of iOS. We want the best and the biggest. Now we have to write it. So that's what we're doing. The simulation is us playing through the code,
right?
The story.
Right. Right. And I think this is what Charlene is trying to say here. The Book of Life movie comes to mind. Most people had their story written in advance, but the guy that played the guitar was writing his own story. So, so every experience that we've ever had, good or bad, is we wrote it ourselves.
Yes.
And so here we are, October 16th. We are basically saying, if you wanted to look back, whether depending on how old you are, I would say that if you are a younger person, if you were like born after 2012, let's just say, you've got this information that we didn't have when I was born in the early 1960s.
Yeah.
And now that we've had people along the way, I had people along the way like Greg Braden and Wayne Dyer and everybody else trying to piece this all together. Now here we are in 2025. And if I was young, I would definitely take advantage of understanding. This comes back to like they corrupted the minds in the colleges so badly that they can't even think for themselves. But now, if we are jumping time and we're kind of, I want to say we're erasing that. We're getting past all that. Now we can take these young minds and have them go into the schools and learn this stuff, like the book that you have, the Italian guy, and have them read those type of things. Where now they're being challenged. Their mind is being challenged. And they'll just do wonderful things out there. I truly believe that, and I want that for this world.
It's a beautiful thing. It really is. To know that we are the ones that came in like a virus, even though we see ourselves as the light, we're really infiltrating the matrix because we wrote the story. God said, you're volunteering to interrupt it at a certain point in time. You're coming in to disrupt that code and you're rewriting the system. That doesn't mean we're exiting the matrix. That just means we are now taking control of something that we all co-created and got corrupted.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So they knew how the code was going, and they wanted to get control of the code. So if you talk about a simulation, they obviously knew through. Now we're going to jump into like more I call sci-fi stuff. The looking glass, right? They're going to be able to see the future and see where it probably could have gone without them writing a bad virus or putting a bug in the system. And just dummying down people in the colleges. They had to stop it at the college level because they already knew that the people that were older than that were already onto them. They knew about the Mandela effect. They knew that everything that they were telling us was wrong. We found out about the programming through the television 5 days a week of Leave It to Beaver, that type of thing, over and over, just dummying everybody down. And they just knew that, all right, if we could get a hold of these kids because their parents weren't as smart, now we're going to get in there and we're going to get these kids at the college level and just really screw with their creative thinking. The way that they process information, and we're going to teach them. We're going to take civics out. We're going to remove history, their true history. We're going to move a lot of things and just cram all this crap down their throat. But then we're going to inject the political side of things and tell you and divide. Then we're going to divide, and that's why there was such a Charlie Kirk to come into play. Which, if you ever look at him, he kind of looks like a baron. I'm serious. I saw him in one of his latest interviews, and he turned his head, and I'm like, that dude's big. He's tall, and he almost could be Baron.
For sure.
Huh?
For sure.
Yeah. So anyway, so I get the plan. Okay, I get the plan, and so now they're saying, okay, now. Somebody else on the good side saw this and said, all right, we're going to correct the code like you were talking about. We're going to put it, we're going to make it right. We're going to create this code. And people have to think about this in terms of a computer, because that's all I've ever thought about my whole life. I studied computers. And as soon as I got into the Akashic Records, I saw the downloads, I saw the information. And it was almost like I made that conscious choice very early on when I was like 17 years old to go into computers, not knowing why I made that conscious choice. I just heard it was up and coming. Computers were going to change things for people. And so that's what I want people to do. If you were to look back at your life, what are the conscious choices that you made without even knowing how they were going to benefit your life? Write it down. It is so important to give yourself credit, pat yourself on the back, and you basically say, well, I've had a really crappy life. Why, what choices, why would I do this? You may have the answer to it, and you may not have the answer to it, but you decided, you chose that, right?
You and source and your higher self, your oversoul, and all the fractals that make you up, your soul said, hey, you were the rich guy in that life, you were the witch woman in that one, you were the poverty stricken in the third world country over there, you are over here, you're over there. Okay, in this life, let's change the bounty a little bit, but here's all the lessons you need to learn. And through this life that you're going to choose, you're going to learn those lessons. The ones that you don't, you're going to have to repeat at some point.
And maybe in a more subtle way, because it'll be more obvious to you with all the changes that we have gone through.
Well, with the blackouts that are happening, that's what's shifting, and that's what's happening right now. There's glitching happening. I know I'm in a glitch right now. Where does my lessons need to upgrade in terms of, okay, I learned it this way and I kind of sort of got the lesson, but I didn't learn it completely through this method. But now that I'm upgrading, do I really need that lesson anymore?
Does it always have to be a lesson? Is this life experience? We talk about, we come here to experience life through this body, but spiritually, I'm probably getting a little bit wrapped around the axles with this one here, but I hate putting a label on it as like a life lesson. For people to think that, oh my God, am I going to be punished again? I don't want it to go through that extreme, but it's almost as if, it's an experience, it's witnessing, and it's joyful. It could be sad at times. And I cried the other day when I heard a certain song. And I can't remember the name of it. I think it was Judy Garland was singing, and it just it brought, and I had my eyes closed because I'm laying in bed. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning and I can't sleep. And then all of a sudden, I don't know if you guys, this happens to you, but we've got these smart TVs that just go on by themselves. Will just go on by itself, and I can't figure it out. But there was something with not Judy Garland, her mother. I don't know what her mother's name was. That Judy Garland? Yeah, it was Judy Garland, right? She did the Wizard of Oz. But she sang this song, and the first thing, because I was half conscious now, was I saw my whole family, brothers and sisters, mom and dad, in this one house that we lived in. And I started to cry. I said, oh my God, I miss my family. And then I woke up, I looked around the room and I said, okay, I know where I'm at now. But that song took me physically and emotionally back to that time. But then when I opened up to the other reality, I realized I can't hang on to that. This is where I'm at, and I'm accepting this. So I guess when you talk about lessons that are learned, they could be all kinds of things, but do they always have to have the emotional aspect to it?
In this body, yes. Because in a third dimensional human body, why we came here is because we have the most exact feelings. Everything is feeling. That is our vibratory state. We need to feel things. So in a higher density, we are going to start losing our feelings for things. It's going to be different. It's not going to say we won't feel, but we're going to be more in a loving energy where we're not going to get that hardcore depression and sadness and icky stuff because we're already encompassed with God. We're in love. So you're not going to feel those polarizing things that you need to feel, and we're doing it in this body.
So if I didn't have my body and it was just a spirit, and I know that I'm part of God, and it's always a very loving, and this is what I envision. It may not, I would think that once I leave this body and I decide to go back to wherever it is I go back, I'm going to know that I'm full spirit and I'm a big essence of God. I'm a part of God. We all are. We are all connected. We're all got that God gene in us. And so, what I'm basically is saying is that only in this body we can remember, but when we're in spirit, we don't remember, or is it reversed?
Well, in spirit, you don't know the totality of it all. It's just like the ascension. It comes in levels. We're upgrading our consciousness now. It's a forever unfoldment of knowing. What happens in a higher density is that their understanding of the complexity of infinitude is vaster. So an alien will say, well, no, I'm also a part of God. Why do you separate me from God? You're not separate from me. You are me. We're just on a different scale of understanding and awareness. We're limited here in awareness. We have expanded vastly, but they're on another wavelength.
So what I think a lot of people are not, everyone will say, "Oh, I'm not coming back here. I don't want to experience this again." I heard that time and time again. And the first time I heard it, I was taken back by it. But then my next thought was, well, how else can we learn about humanity without, coming here and having this body and learning and help others? I mean, it's just one of these very spiritual things that I think where we're actually headed to is if not like I said, I did that one reading. We found out there was 5,400 children that are back home, whatever state that they are in, but they're back in a safe place, which is a huge thing. Now the next thing is that we have to do is start taking a look at our brothers and sisters. There's some of them out there that, you turn on the TV and they're showing you the worst scenarios that are out there of people and their behavior and everything. Do you think that there's got to be another jump in time in order to correct that? Correct the people that are kind of lost?
I don't know if it's going to be a correction or us choosing not to focus on it and not have it be a part of our reality anymore.
Thank you.
They still need to learn what we prefer over what we don't prefer paradigm. And a lot of us already have established what we prefer moving forward. We want peace, prosperity, abundance, and we want more on the specific side. But for the most part, most of humanity that prefers the light and prefers love and unity and harmonious union, that doesn't mean we don't have to agree to disagree. It's understanding that we all want pliably those things.
Yeah, I always like going back to thinking like when I was a child, so innocent and pure, and I used to think everybody was perfect. Mom and dad were perfect, grandpa, everyone was perfect. The kids in the neighborhood, it was just like, and then you get a little bit older, and then that you go away to school, and it all gets ruined. I'm hoping that we all get to that point where we just look at everyone, and just like you said it, elegantly and very beautifully, that it's not that we don't wish anything or for anybody anything bad. It's just that we'll have this shift and it'll just become the norm, because it'll be put back into place. The way that I'm actually seeing it is, if we're looking at it from our heart perspective, it's always been there. And so maybe it's still there. Maybe it got shut down. Maybe it needs to open up again, but it'll come back. Is that make sense, AllyKat?
Yes. And it's a choice. You can choose, like, me going divine neutral and seeing beyond good and evil and seeing that everything is source and applying it in life, not just saying it, but like living it, making myself held accountable to it. That's rough. But now I have a choice. Do I prefer to drug my head with television and things that are not serving my reality, or am I going to serve my reality by going within and knowing what I choose to put my attention to, which is your will?
Right. Right. Exactly. So, there's like I said, there's a lot of people at a lot of different levels, and then we have to just stay within our own level, and that is going to be a big challenge for a lot of us. For the probably, I would have to say, I don't know, I don't know how many years that would be, but there's so many jumps that you showed in the Schumann resonance that I'm thinking, wow, they really want us. They really want us to get to a certain place here. All right. Any questions from anybody? This is it right here. Is that 8 of them?
Yeah, so it's hard to see because I can't blow it up any further, but there's little lines, tiny little lines, and we're shifting now. Like, so if you're having a headache, if you're getting the tuning in your head, I'm an emotional wreck in all facets of life. These are just old programmings and encodings that were held in the subconscious at this point, exiting. We just have to go feel it. We have to go through it, feel it, and let it go. And it takes time. These things are taking time. That's why when you go within and do the work, it is a forever process. Don't think that just because you tackled one thing, 5 more won't come next to it and behind it. Healing is a forever process, and it happens in every density, dimension, other life, other self, other bubble of universe, forever, until you're merged back with source.
I'm going to throw something a little bit different at you. So there's a lot of people out there that have decided to get married and go through this particular journey alongside with their husband or their wife, their partner, whatever it might be. So are they experiencing, so I always say that everyone is a mirror reflection of someone else, right? And so like, and I know this more now since I retired, and I hate to admit it, but it's the God's truth. There are times that I see my husband act in a certain way, and then I'm acting that way. And it's the patterns. We're going to go back to the patterns and the energies, and it's not anything bad. It's just like, okay, our energies have melded together, and so at some point, and then there's other times too that we think completely different. Where that's where the brain comes in. That's completely different from the way that you think from somebody else thinks. But where I'm kind of going with this is that our soulmates, if you want to call it that, have agreed to go through this, and I really think that those are really, how do I say this, are really amping up quite a bit. It's almost as like you become one at some point.
Because you are. So your husband and you are the same soul. You're playing
Oh,
so you're playing in reality, in here, you're playing the feminine role and he's playing the masculine role. Yes, you're coming in with different dichotomies. You're coming with different families. You're coming from different experiences, but on a higher density experience, you at 6 density, I want to say, start merging as an androgynous being. So you can still split off to be I'm the personality Janine, and your husband can be over here playing him. But at the end of the day, on a higher density, not in this life, not here, but up there, you're one. That's what there are. Many of us are soulmates. It doesn't need to
right,
be your romantic partner.
right.
Your twin flame is your mirror, but it's still your soul giving you shit.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've got my personality is completely different from his. I'm more jovial. He's more stoic. But then there was a switch. I'm telling you, and this switch was probably, not so much. Well, he's a Capricorn, and they always say Capricorns get younger with age, and I actually witnessed that. I saw that a long time ago, where before he was like, oh, work, 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 right, and now it's not that so much, and now he's actually trying to, make these silly jokes like I do, and I'm like, it doesn't work for you, honey. That's my job. It sounds better coming from me, but it's just something that I was observant of, and I get that, and a lot of people say, well, that's just married life. And I really think that that's why a lot of people split, because they do see that they don't want that mirror reflection of themselves. They could say, well, hell, I'm that, why would I want something else that's like that? But you're right, from a bigger picture. Yeah, this is we are all one.
Yes. But we're all one, but we have to look at it as, take the Pink Floyd photo of the rainbow hitting the prism.
Yeah.
Each one of us, like, so a soul tribe, a soul family, the one fractal comes in on the red ray, the purple ray, the violet ray, the whatever, all the colors. Each of every one of us has come in on the same, because we're all vibrating and we're all retaining the information on the same wavelength. But the rest of humanity comes in different waves on that spectrum. They hit that one point in the prism, and then it gets distorted and brought out again. That's reality. Our soulmates could be somebody that we work with. It could be a best friend. It could be an animal. When we are with somebody in a marriage, yes, so you got the white light hitting, but even white light is not white. It's spectrum pulled in to a bright, vibrant radiance. Then it hits the prism, and there we are. So we have source at the central location. It hits the prism, and boom, here's the hologram. And we all come in on those different colors of expression of source, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it definitely does. And actually, I'm gonna stop sharing this and come back to you. I think you sent me a couple of videos, and I'm not sure if it was you, but it's the old physicists, where they basically take one of those little red lights that they use for pointing lights in class, and they will put it one hole through a piece of paper, right? Then they do 2 holes and 3 holes and so on and so forth. You know where I'm going with this, right? It's kind of more advanced than the prism that you're talking about with Pink Floyd, because now there's different patterns behind that, and the light is choosing. You want to? Do you know enough about that to talk about it?
It's this double split experiment, but it goes beyond that. So once a particle is observed, the state changes. So these states of light that we're witnessing, they're coming in on wavelengths. All of us came in on wavelengths of consciousness. We all came in a tribe. So you have your wave, and you have your multiple waves. And each of these particles that are coming in is vibrating and frequenting at different rates of speed, depending on the laser of the experiment and the slits. But when they go through, some of them split. And then they're quantumly entangled to each other. So your mates, the people around you, like I'm in quantum entangled to Janine. I'm quantum entangled to Charlene and Ash Maya and Scott and Lori's and everybody out there. But there are entanglements that I have not observed that are there, but they're not strong enough. Yay!
Yeah, I think Dragonfly talked about that early on, the entanglement there, and I find that just so interesting. There's a lot more that I think that they're going to find out about. I don't know, or there's a lot more that I need to learn about. Put it that way. So those patterns, there's patterns back there. It's the new technique, controlled quantum state of light in 3-dimensional. And I just found this, kind of awesome. Just to see that there's a lot of different patterns, a lot of different. Can you say there are a lot of different choices from these?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's how the light is behaving. and how we are observing that behavior. That's quantum. In the quantum world, it's the observer observing itself. So when you're looking at an experiment from CERN, the Hadron Collider, it's up to the people of will of intention that has the thought in their head of how they want that to look, and the particle that is entangled to that observer will project that pattern. I know that's mind-blowing and a little hard and confusing, but all those things that you see right now, a person that observed that had that patterning in their brain. They channeled it.
That's cool. All right. Let's see what else we have here. I'm going to come back to us over here. So yeah, there's just so much to this, and it looks like everybody is with us on this one here. Has anyone got any questions about the spiritual questions? Maybe how maybe this might have been affecting your life. Let's see here.
How's Rumble doing?
Yeah, that's what I'm checking on right now. I don't see oh, there it is. Buckshot's the only one that there's really nobody watching it for some reason. Oh, that's sad. All right, probably went over their heads.
But you want to know something, Janine? It's not going over. I've noticed. I've been speaking this way, but more definitely the last couple of years. I've had these concepts, but just didn't have the verbiage for it, and now I'm hearing it constantly. I'm like, oh, finally, people are catching up to my brain capacity, because
Exactly.
I hate losing people. So I like to try to bring in hard concepts with easy to decode ways of understanding. But now people are starting to understand cohesion, collapsing the wave function being manifestation, entanglement. You're entangled to everything. It's what you focus your intention on to observe it, to bring it into form. Oh yeah, the dimensional things are starting to come out, because I keep challenging some of these physicists. The guy that wrote the book, I'm like, okay, so you're only looking at something on a third dimensional scale. What about 4D? What about 5D? What about 6D? Go spiritual with the understanding of how we see densities and dimensions, and now bring it to physics.
So all of these guys going all the way back to the 1800, they were right in the beginning, but they didn't go far enough, probably because they didn't live long enough. But I'm actually seeing a lot of people talking about their work. You have to go back in time in order to make a clear point, and a good argument, I guess, is the best way to say that. And so, there's a lot of good information out there, all these scientists, and I think these were true scientists, not the ones that we're talking about today.
They're true thinkers. They're thinking on the classical, what they've been taught in school. They're actually going, okay, how can I think of this differently? How can I perceive this differently? A lot of them were channelers, channeling higher density information from the ether. But
exactly. I actually had somebody years ago that did a psychic reading on me, and thought that I was reincarnated. Somebody that actually invented like the telescope that would look out, into whatever. I think I've never really connected with it, but I find it interesting that people can at least give you information of like who you might have been in another life, and it doesn't always have to reflect back on today's, but you have all those essences, I think, within you, but not all of your lives. I want to be clear on that, because a lot of people would say, well, if I go back all the way to 500 BC, you wouldn't carry that kind of information with you. I don't think you would. I really don't. So this was very interesting. I hope everybody enjoyed this. Charlene has a statement out here. Nelson does have an amazing talent for taking complex theories about quantum and putting them into layman terms. Yes, she does. And I knew that. I knew that where I was reaching with Buck on the show, and I just, Ellie, what time did I text you? 4:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
I said, I hope she's sleeping.
I was up.
Yeah. So, yeah, this is great. If there's anybody else wants or has suggestions about other things like this is great. I mean, we have to really understand that a lot of this does play a big part. If you understand that we are energy, vibration, frequencies, you have to understand the quantum and then the quantum fields. Did you get around to truly expressing your thoughts on the quantum fields here?
So this physicist, I highly recommend this book. This is Federico Fagin. He is all over YouTube. You can find interviews with him with brilliant people, spiritual people, and then philosophers, and then other physicists. And if you just want to, I got this at Five Below, guys. Just cheap, easy understandings of just the basics of quantum mechanics, quantum physics, string theory.
Could you hold up the red one again? I want to get the spelling. Faggin.
Yeah. Sorry, I got schmutz on here. Hang on.
My husband just used that word the other day. That's like schmutz. Where'd you get that word? Okay.
Every day.
All right, let's see here. So let me just kind of put this up here. This is what did I take down my share? Oh no. No, you're up here. Okay, it's telling me it was canceled.
He had a spiritual experience. So he invented the microprocessor. He is very, very, he's a sweetheart, and he talks now spiritual and trying to merge the quantum, and he's doing it through his writings and his work, and it's beautiful, and he's going to pave the way with a couple of others. He's not the only one. Coming up with different theories, but actually putting experimentation, because a lot of people in 3D still need tangible evidence. So if I had a near-death experience or an ODD where I'm leaving my body and I'm aware of myself, I'm the only one that can observe that and feel it and experience it. You can't make everybody a believer until they have that experience. So he is trying to bridge that. I'm going to prove this using physics that spiritual stuff does happen.
You know, I found this interesting. He was part of Silicon Valley. So he led the development of technology. Let's see where they basically were saying in Silicon, he became one of the most transformative advancements in microelectronics. Wow, this is pretty cool. So including the MOS semiconductor and memory chips. He's still alive, or is he dead?
No, he's still alive.
Well, since we're going to be making all that stuff here, maybe it'll be even more advanced. I don't know, but this is pretty cool. If you guys look him up, this is he's a nice looking man.
He's Italian. He is. He's an Italian through and through. He is so cute and humbled. You want to take him home as your grandpa.
Yeah.
Super smart. And he's even admitted throughout the interviews I've watched him on, he wasn't all in on the spiritual stuff until he had his experience. And then he came up with his theory of quantum panpsychism, which is like you're in all things.
So he has a book that came out, The Theory of Consciousness, and was it last year?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Zaya, the quantum phenomenon is unique to each of us. I'm going to have to get that one. Which one do you have?
I have irreducible, so this is more of the quantum physics.
Okay.
And it going through like how he is viewing it. I haven't. I'm still a couple of chapters in. I'm only a few chapters in, but it breaks it down like I do in layman's terms.
Okay, I read this wrong. So the book is Irreducible, which it breaks it all down with consciousness, life, computers, human nature. Yeah, okay. And then the theory of the consciousness. This sounds like a really good book. I'm going to have to get that. Okay, so that will go in my Amazon cart. Fantastic. So let's see here. I don't see anyone with any questions or anything like that. This was fun. I enjoyed this. I hope you did.
I love this is my wheelhouse. I love talking this because the more people that can like I like to break things down unreligiously and spiritually, but I'm also like, okay, I gotta include the people who are on the fence with understanding God, the label that we give it. It's just energy.
Yeah.
It's
Let's give a
just
shout out to Cappy 25's out on Rumble just to say, hey, I'm here. I'm here. Yeah, this is really cool. I mean, if we were to take this to either just a whole new show or even a part 3, where's the next step for this one here? Because I'd have to do my homework.
understanding the complexity and then the simplicity of how our reality works.
Yeah. I just saw on that. So your reality, so how do I put this? So let's just say if you guys have questions on this, this is really, really good topic. So the reality that I created for myself, if I were to step outside of myself, I can actually see that my reality is could be fake, could be flawed, could be all the whatever it is, right? So that my higher self would determine that my reality how do I put this? My reality is not exactly the way I'm playing it out. Is that a good way of saying it? Or
think of yourself as a drone, the little helicopter. Who has the controls? Your higher self. You are having the experience, they have the controls. They are navigating this body, this experience, and they're taking you through the valleys, through the mountains, through the inclement weather. You're the one experiencing it, feeling it, going through it. They're up there going, ha ha!
yeah, yeah. So if they say, okay, turn left, and I'm still headed to the right, right? In my reality, I'm, who's ever controlling that decides, well, let's see what she does. If I'm we've got to talk about this because I'm going to have to study up on it because I'm thinking
you changed your timeline. So your higher self is navigating this reality, and then we have a time jump. Now that left turn choice is going to be made. Where you went right, you're going to go left by that time jump. That's where the quantum physicists still don't understand the Schumann, the spiritual. Your higher self is still in control. You're navigating it with it, but it's like, oh, you know what? We already experienced everything over here. You're done with that. We want you new peaks and valleys. Let's go. It already navigated you there. And now you're going to go on the experience of doing it in this new timeline. That's all it's doing. It's recalibrating. That's why we're all yucky. Our bodies, our consciousness is recalibrating to the new leap. And now we're leaping too much. which is great in essence, but it's messing up our bodies physically because we have to recalibrate to the new energy. It just doesn't happen like that. It takes us time and our density. It takes time for us to simulate and become comfortable with the new feeling and with the new
Yeah,
being.
like when I ate too much gummies, I was comfortably numb.
You're comfortably expanding. You're expanding. It's
Don't let me in
beautiful.
that. Don't let me go back to that store. All right.
I say yes, go.
Yeah, but it's one of these things. It wasn't like a bad. People call it a bad trip. I can see where that was coming from. I was more like I'm a kid in a candy store, and I can see what's going on. Like it's almost as like I stepped outside. I probably was outside of my body at that time, but I'm watching my thoughts. I could actually tell where my thoughts were going, or it was like, did I actually have I didn't care if I wasn't in control. That was the cool thing.
Because you were already in control, just not your body.
Yeah.
You're already in control. Your body was what is the tool that you're experiencing it through. But let's give a caveat to this, Janine. Why am I not allowed to know about my future?
Now, is that just for you, or are you? No
Let's
one's ever
just
told. No one's ever told you.
let's just take it per medium abilities, per Akashic records. Did I write it yet? Yes. Do I know what choice I'm making in the next moment to get to that timeline where you're seeing me playing that out?
Ask me a question. Tell me no lies.
I am pressuring, well, not well, yeah, pressure cookering myself to figure shit out by my birthday, which is now exactly 6 months from today. Happy birthday.
What's the question?
By my birthday, will I be on my highest timeline?
Ooh. Let's see what they tell me.
I'm still waiting for my door to open and my opportunities to come.
Well, let me see if I can get this in focus. Let me just read this to you. It's saying it's the Ark of the Covenant. I can't say it.
Ark of the Covenant.
Yeah. And what does that mean to you?
I just keep on folding.
So if you actually studied the arc of this, a lot of people. This is what I have heard. A lot of people couldn't get close to it. It always had to be guarded. Okay, and also that if you got too close to it, a lot of people didn't live long. So let me pull another one here. Do you let people get close to you?
Yes.
All right.
Sometimes too close.
All right. So let me just end it. I usually pull 4. Like you gave me an end date here, and so what I'm actually seeing here is a little bit of chaos in between until the next birthday. There's definitely going to be a lot more communication, a lot more moves on your half on your. This is the smarter that you get about yourself. It's almost as if it's like a chess game for you. Mm-hmm. Okay, so within this chess game, what they're basically saying is that that's not a bad thing. That's actually a really good thing because you constantly are challenging yourself with this, but you're not really bringing in the spiritual people out there that can help you with this. And I think I saw this with you once before. It's almost like I can do this. I'm well aware sometimes, maybe, and we talked a little bit about the brain and the mind. Really, the brain, really, there's no place for any of this formula that we talk about. And so let me just pull one more, because what they're showing me is that you have so many entities around you that are surrounding you, that are protecting you. And the number 22 comes up with that, which I think is kind of powerful. But it's almost as if, I understand that you are your own master, but you're a master on earth, okay, but of yourself. But the master artisans are utilized with all the other spirits within you, around you. And so you will get a lot more information by your birthday, if that was what the question actually was. But it's almost as if, like, you're how do I put this? So you're very intelligent, and sometimes your intelligence is what I think is going to hinder you a little bit, until you pull in that energy of the spirits that are around you. And I think you know who those spirits are that are around you. Do you utilize them?
To an extent, but because this is the problem that I've had since finding out I'm a medium. I have so many that like to take control that they're not allowing the other ones to step through. So I have ones that are a little on the egotistical side and go, no, 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 that's what's good for her. But then I have like the quiet, shy guys in the back going,
So let me just kind of step back and go back to these chess moves. You're extremely intelligent. It's almost as if you say, okay, I'm gonna pick the toughest chess player out there to play this game with, and which you have done on other levels, okay, and other dimensions. But at the same time, if you get like all these other spiritual people rooting for you, and they know that you're a master of your own, it's almost as if I want to say to you that this has been an infinity thing for you. It's almost as like you don't want your path to be known. You subconsciously, it's almost as if, it's really funny, because I hate to say this, but Katharine Hepburn just came to me in my mind's eye talking about this. Katharine Hepburn, do you know who she is? She created her own path. She had her own power, and she did what she wanted to do. And so it was like this independent woman that was basically out there, but she didn't want anyone to ever tell her where she was going to go, where she was going to be. And that's kind of like, those are the essences. Why did they show me her so blatantly? Is because you don't want to know what your path is going to be by the time your birthday comes along. You're too young yet. Yes. So why is that? Why did you ask that question?
On a third dimensional scale of where I'm not at where I want to be in this third dimension, like the struggle is real thing. I'm kind of getting tired of it, and I'm putting myself out there. I'm working almost all day now, literally, without seeing the abundance coming in that will help me thrive and not have to sit in this struggle and feel.
Yeah. So basically that goes back to you utilizing, if you're so, oh my gosh, it's so, it's not even I'm in the world but not of the world. It's way beyond that. It's almost like you're saying, okay, I've got to come back to this earth school, and this is what I have to do to get through earth school. It's almost like they're saying to you, why aren't you utilizing the angel that's sitting to your left? And why aren't you utilizing your ancestors that are behind you that can help you out? It's almost as if you are saying, it's almost as like the realities. This is perfect, because this will lead us into the realities for our next show there. And I'm going to use you as an example of that. You could take all the theories and be as smart as you can intellectually and know what's going on in the quantum physics level. But then when it actually comes to, you being able to manifest what it is that you want, you talked about tools. And so, as soon as I saw that, that you are your own master, master artesian is actually what they call it. And they said that this was infinity. You've done this so many times before, but I don't think you've done it with the choices that you have gone through in this lifetime. So now you're like, okay, this is a whole different pattern that I have to deal with. And you're trying to figure it all out when you have all the answers. And the answers basically are that came down with the last card here was that you honestly your path is it's too early for you to know that path, but doesn't mean that it's that you can't manifest what you wanted to do to take it up a notch so you're not struggling.
Yeah.
The question is it a struggle or is it complacent?
More of a struggle.
Because if I were to pull over the next card, and it is the two worlds, and it is in the two worlds. So when you talk about the struggle, when you answered that, that is the two worlds. What world are you living in 99% of the time? Is it the earth plane, earth school, or is it more of the energy fields? Yep. So when you actually have to bring it down, how much time and energy are you spending on saying, okay, this is great that I've got to go and do this, and I love what I'm doing. I'm working with all these kids, and I have a lot of heart, and it's so meaningful. But at the same time, you haven't asked for somebody to, like, I don't know, promote you, finding you another job. There's something there that you're just lacking within your own beliefs for yourself.
I've been asking, I've been putting myself out there, I've been emailing, and just this either it's not the right time.
No, the forces are definitely coming in for the winter for you, but you have to play this almost as if it's if you can pull in the stuff from the ethers down into the earth and play that out in your mind with your imagination and watch that, tell the story. You have to write this out as if this was a play, because it's taken me back to the infinity. You've done this before. It's just that the pattern is completely different for you. So now all the plays that you have in front of you. What are you going to do with it? I mean, you could basically say, okay, I'm going to take my work career, my love career, my money, all this other stuff, and you have to rewrite that. That's all that you have to do. You are, it says, a master artesian, basically, is what it came down to. What does that mean for you? You never want to know where the path is going for some strange reason. Maybe you need to journal or meditate or talk to the gods about that. Why, if everybody can write their own reality or choose their own paths, why do you not want? Are you more comfortable with that?
No, but that's, I think, where my challenge and lesson on the grand soul scale comes into play, where that's why I'm in Aries. Aries needs to know, and I don't necessarily, I'm giving that paradigm up, or I need to have a knowing that I know I'm going to be okay. Sometime, I mean, I just almost died again yesterday. Someone railed me in the back of my car. I could have died. A bullet went through my house a couple of weeks ago. I could have been shot and killed. That could have hit me. Where is the change? This is where the Aries brain comes in, the humanness comes in. Okay, I'm being asked to make a change, but I don't know where that change comes. And I've been changing the way I'm approaching my thinking. I'm transmuting my energy. I'm going, okay, so I keep working in this loop, getting up and exhausting my body. I'm doing all these favors for people. But I'm doing my happiness. I'm doing this. This makes me so happy. This is my happy spot. My channel is my happy spot.
So when you're actually doing this, you can feel the energy of your talking about all this information and educating and teaching people. Why can't you do this for a living? What is stopping you? If this is the happiest that you've ever been just talking about this, and when you first came on, you're like, oh man, this is the stuff that I love. This is what I really like to do. So, okay, there's so many different avenues that you could take this to, because people definitely, who's everyone that's in this YouTube channel is who usually follows you on your channel. Thank you all for being here, by the way. And maybe, there's just another way that you can look at it besides YouTube, of actually educating people on this.
Definitely trying it. Again, it comes down to the third dimensional level of practicality, funds. And yeah, I could crowdsource and do all that stuff, but I'm not sure how what to do to translate it, if that makes sense. So if I were to make I'm trying to write courses and stuff to help people through the ego death, the dark night of the soul, and the shadow work that I'm very well aware of and have experienced.
Now, when you write these courses, is just something that they can go out to a site to look at and do it on their own, or are you basically involved? Because your energy has to be there, even though your energy's there, putting it together. But it's just like right now, your energy is here, and everybody's just loving it, and they can't get enough of it. And
I want to do it on my channel, but I also want to take it to like a video platform.
Right.
And
exactly. It's kind of like it's kind of like all those other truthers out there. They basically said, if you want to know more about this, jump over to my other channel and pay $9.99 a month to get in to see it. That kind of stuff. But you're actually doing it to make a living off of it, and then people will truly understand it, because what is as far as bringing it down to earth for people. What does this mean for somebody that is just getting up every day and going to work, and then they get to hear this stuff? It's taking them to a place that they know there's something more out there than me going in and being an accountant somewhere. There's what does this mean for them spiritually? What does this mean for humanity? What does this mean for shifting? There's so much to this.
Yes. And it's now fine-tuning my brain to figure out where to focus that information so it's cohesive and it's not all over the place scattered. I mean, it all ties into each other. It does.
It's like a curriculum. You're going to break it down. Mm-hmm. That's all that this is. And I know we kind of talked about this once before, but if you just do 15-minute increments, I think, if you just start out that way, recording yourself, I think that people would want to hear it, because of the attention span of people out there is very, very short. 30 seconds, a minute, they're done. I hear everybody of every age that says if they don't say it within the first 5 minutes, I'm moving on, because they have choices.
And I'm challenging that on TikTok. I'm doing it in 5 minutes. That's something that I hope more of the younger generation understand. The unlimited amount of information, yes, can be given to you in a snap, but when something is watched and you're in a comfort state and not in a serotonin, I need to see the next one, I need to see the next one, I need to see the next, and you actually slow your brain down to get information, you retain it better. Instead of sitting there and going swipe, 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 you're not absorbing anything of importance.
They're killing time with that. So if you want to look at it this way, there's a lot of people out there that want to learn, they're eager to learn. And so you've got to find a particular way of teaching any generation going across the board there. And I think that you will, but you just got to do one or two things just to get started with all of this.
Yes.
So we could pick this up next time on talking about the reality of things. And maybe this will unfold for you the more that we actually talk about. Ashmeyer says we can all resonate with this with us, because this is our journey home, and it definitely is. And so if we take a look at it, people that are like my age, we're a lot closer to the journey home than the 20 years old, the 30-year-olds, right? And what does that mean for 20-year-olds or 30-year-olds? I don't know where their level of consciousness is at. And maybe that's what we need to do is kind of dig into that, do a little bit more research. And that's pardon?
You're waking up.
Yeah.
Work with a lot of them, that age bracket. I work with them. And when I break things down, because they're all very biblical, but I'm like, could you look at it? Just expand your mind. Don't think I'm disrespecting you. Look at it this way. I get a lot of, I didn't think of that. What? Yeah. Whoa. And now they start asking more and more questions. They're not confined to a book that just was dictated to them. Now they're actually going and going, wait a second, I'm also God? Wait, but Christ is something within? Yeah, nothing's outside of you. You create it. We all co-created it together. But they're waking up. They're expanding. They're not stubborn in their ways of thinking. They're now starting to go, okay, I got seated.
Yeah.
I'm going to hold it here. Instead of letting it go, they're going to hold it. And that's what's happening to everybody. We're holding concepts. When it starts making sense, then you start going into your heart space, and then your epiphanies come because you're allowing it. But you seed it here first, and then it drops down. And then when it hits your gut, that's when your instincts kick in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think that maybe when we talk about realities, that we just use a little bit more examples of the different age people out there and what maybe their reality might be. I'm not really even sure. There's a lot of people out there that it just might be all the same thing. I just think it's just a little bit different depending on the age of the person. But it really, what it comes down to is one thing, and whatever that might be. So we'll find that out in our next show. I'm going to take a little time off here, and then I'll come back and, I've got, we got a little vacation coming up. So I definitely want to book the third one with you. AllyKat, talking about the realities in creating this, and really, what does all this really mean for humanity? And that's what's so important for me to kind of convey out there. And I think it is for you too, because you've got the teacher archetype without a doubt. So let's just try to pull this more information out of you. Somebody else out there wrote theirs. They thought that you're going to be writing more books in your near future. Maybe, and I did get a lot of scrolls on you when I was pulling this. So maybe that's what this is all about. Your path is unknown. So maybe you have to just open your mind to a different avenue, creating books and selling your own books along with your YouTube channel. There you go. All right, everybody, thank you for being here. Hope you enjoyed AllyKat. I enjoy talking with her all the time. And we'll see you guys real soon. All right, bye now. Bye, Allie.
Bye.